Hi, I'm Shian Rashid, partner at SRJ Chartered Accountants, and I'm joined by a colleague, Craig Gibson from Scotiabank Healthcare Banking. A lot of our clients ask us how to build a new practice or how to finance their practice. So we brought Craig today to discuss some of the options and how exactly it works with the bank. So Craig, for the new associates, new doctors and dentists, when they're looking to transition towards their own practice, they usually ask us in terms of how can I structure this deal, or how does it work with the bank? So maybe we can start off with some of the more basic questions. In terms of financing practice, how much would the bank cover?
So if you're going to start a practice from scratch as a new doctor, a new dentist, we can do up to 100% financing of anything related to the leaseholds and equipment on the practice. And that could be up to 100%. You provide us with budgets beforehand of how much you're going to spend for equipment, how much for the premises, and we can finance up to 100% of that, including all the taxes.
Okay, got it. And how about for an existing practice that they're looking to purchase from, let's say, someone who's retiring?
That's a really common scenario we get too. That would be usually done on an appraisal basis, and there's quite a few large appraisal companies in Canada that provide appraisals to the bank and to the person buying the office. They would give us that along with a cash flow forecast, which they could talk to their accountant about putting together, because the information we have in that appraisal is going to be mostly historical. So we take those numbers plus the numbers that you as a new practitioner would add to that office, and that is how we can put together the loan approval for you based on the cash flow of what you're going to add to this new dental office.
Okay, and are there any specific terms with respect to the interest or any benefits in terms of the first couple of years that the bank can help with?
Yeah, with a new startup practice, you can go up to 2 years of interest-only payments. So you don't make any principal payments towards your loan for the first 2 years, and then you pay the loan over 8 years thereafter. Even with somebody buying an existing office, we can provide them up to a year's interest-only financing on that too, to get used to kind of how the cash flow for the practice works. The rates are as low as prime, and all of our loans for purchases or for startups are based over 10 years, and they're all open loans, so you could pay them as fast as you would like to.
Okay, got it. And with respect to the documentation that's required by the physician or by the dentist, what specifically is the bank going to look for a loan application?
So for a brand new startup practice, we always want a cash flow projection for at least 2 years, which the accountant can help put together with them, as well as a budget, and we would need information about the client. So they're fill out a personal net worth statement, 2 years tax returns, and that's all you submit. If they're purchasing a practice, it's the same information along with the appraisal. We wouldn't need a business plan because the appraisal would outline what the practice does, but we would still need 2 years of accountant prepared forecasted statements to see what kind of income the practice would generate with the new owner in there.
Okay, and at what point would you recommend the physician or the dentist obtain other advisors, let's say legal or real estate agents? At what point in the game would you expect them to obtain these advisors?
We would usually say from the get-go. They would be sometimes introduced to us from an accountant, or we would introduce them to an accountant. And usually at that time they're thinking about legal matters, so get in touch with a good lawyer who's experienced with dental or medical, meet with a broker of selling practices, a supply rep who works in the industry to supply them the equipment that they would need, a leasing representative, a real estate person. I would say they would usually do it all within the same time span, but the earlier the better for the advice.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I think that's good in terms of the initial discussion when it comes to purchasing a new practice. If you have any questions for Craig, you can reach out to him directly about financing the practice. If you want to discuss setting up the corp or even how the structure will be maintained, you can give us a shout at SRJ Chartered Accountants. Stay tuned for our next video, which is going to discuss how to acquire a property for your practice and a lot of useful tips from Craig in there as well. Thanks for watching.